In an interview with the French newspaper Le Monde, a French expert explained that the Soviet-made tanks are smaller and more compact than Western equipment but less protected against the explosion of the ammunition inside in the event of shelling. Russian tanks are particularly vulnerable to portable missile launchers such as the American Javelins and the British-Swedish NLAW, which are now widely distributed to Ukrainians. A French officer told the newspaper, as soon as the temperature and pressure in the cockpit of the T-72 or T-80 rises, there is a risk of an explosion of ammunition reserves. This design defect explains the recordings from Ukraine, where we see explosions of Russian tanks. The newspaper further mentions, many Russian tanks appear to be without any anti-missile defense devices, called soft kills or the electromagnetic countermeasures, and hard kills or missile interceptors. The British experts at the British Royal Joint Institute for Defence Studies or RUSI argue that Russian tanks participating in Ukraine have confirmed good protection against handheld anti-tank weapons and increased accuracy compared to the tanks of the Soviet period that were in service with the Soviet and Russian armies earlier. The British experts say the observation of Russian armored vehicles only confirmed the previously drawn conclusions. Russian tanks have good frontal protection, capable of withstanding handheld anti-tank systems. The angle of inclination of the armor, dynamic armor protection, and the armor itself provide good protection for the crew. As per the British experts, Russian tanks are fairly well protected at the front for the massive frontal engagements they were designed for, especially in defensive positions where tanks can be buried in the ground. They are combat-ready and effective, provided they are used correctly. Even with poor use, Soviet T-72 performed well during the Iran-Iraq War. At the same time, tanks such as the T-72B3M are armed with 125mm 2A46M5 cannons and can fire advanced projectiles capable of penetrating 500mm of armor at a 2-kilometer distance. And their shooting accuracy will be higher than that of Soviet tanks. The explosive reactive armor or ERA installed on the Russian tanks is particularly effective against anti-tank weapons like the RPG-7 and its counterparts, which use heat warheads to engage targets. But they have limitations. ERA should be supplemented by passive armor to stop weapons like the Panzerfaust III anti-tank grenade with a penetration of about 800mm of rolled homogeneous armor or RHA. The British did not like the crew of 3 and the small space for the crew, the automatic loader and the location of the ammunition under the turret, the lack of an armored partition between the crew and shells, etc. They say that reducing the height of the tank is leveled by the risk of detonation of ammunition. The French military source admitted that regardless of the actual amount of equipment destroyed, Russia's losses in Ukraine were not expected to be so large. The British experts said that there are no ideal tanks. Winning in one, you are bound to lose in something else. They further say, some of the earliest images to surface during the war in Ukraine, apart from the devastation caused by long-range Russian missile strikes, were images of burning Russian armored vehicles. As the conflict developed, pictures emerged of some of the most advanced tanks in Russia's arsenal, the T-80BVM and T-72B3M. Images of the Russian tanks, in which only burnt hulls remained and the turrets were thrown in the nearest ditch due to the detonation of ammunition, may seem shocking. They create the impression that Ukraine has found an antidote in the fight against the tank scourge. As per the French expert, the Russian BMPT Terminator is a heavy tank support vehicle. Social media has footage of these vehicles operating in Ukraine. Russian tanks faced huge losses in the beginning due to operations in urban areas. BMPT is particularly effective in urban combat and is used to protect tanks, and is also able to shoot down attack helicopters. The Russian army is the only one that has this class of vehicles.